right now say, I want Josh Taylor and get the Josh Taylor fight because he's Adrian. That's right. So anybody on that pipeline right now, that's a big deal.
I talked his ass, but the same day that James Tony came and signed the contract. Wow. So I'm talking to both of them on the phones like this. Look, I got Zab on one phone, I got James on one phone.
What is Crawford gonna do before? He's gonna beat Sean. Everybody listen, he's gonna beat Sean. He's gonna beat Sean. Yo. Welcome to Let's Talk Sports, y'all. She'll be joined shortly by my co-host, Brandon Stenard. Well, we got a lot to get into. You know, as we saw last night, OKC was able to tie the series up and get people, 1-1, dominated last night, 34 from Shea Gilders, Alexandria. So, I mean, it's tied up, but I think, for Indiana, there's no need to worry, no need to panic because they stole game one in there. So what they got to do is, what you want to do is try to win both of your home games, but if not, at least force it to game 5. So, I mean, I believe Indiana should be able to win one game at home. I don't see OKC going to Indiana and winning both of them. So, Indiana, bare minimum, I think we might have a 7-game series on at least 6 games. At least 6 games either way. I don't think either team is going to 4-1 the other. So, I think I think we got at least a 6-gamer, and I think we'll know the real direction this series is going. Game 4. Game 4 is going to really tell us. If we go back to OKC 2-2, I think we might be looking at a 7-gamer, or at least, like I said, at least 6. Because normally in these type of series, when they real tight, game 5 is the one that is when somebody's will gonna get broke. But after 2 games, even though OKC was up big in the first one, and like I said, Indiana was able to, weather the storm. It's like, OKC gets their second game at home is always, their best performances. So, Shea Gilders doing what he got to do, off night for Tyrese, but it's okay. I think this one is going, 6-7. And it's hard to say. Like I said, right now, I think everybody, the heavy favorite is still OKC, but I think that we'll know a whole lot more. We'll know a whole lot more after game 4. You know what I mean? Now, if OKC or whoever, if either one of them win both games in Indiana, then yeah, it's time for the other team to push the panic button. I don't think this will be the year we'll see somebody come back from 3-1. You know what I mean? What up, everybody? We're gonna tap into certain topics. Myself and my partner Brandon, we covered the Mystics game yesterday when they went out there and they demolished the Connecticut Sun 104-67. We'll get there, all of that. You know what I mean? I'll be posting clips of us throughout the game, and also at the post game. I got an opportunity to ask the coach a couple questions. Things like that. They're 4-6 on the season, but don't be dismayed. They're a young, tough team, and they're gonna be forced to reckon with as the season goes on. And I definitely see them being in the playoffs this year. Not a championship contender, but they'll be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But what y'all think of the OKC Indiana series thus far? I mean, like I said, if Indiana, no reason to panic. No need to go back home and take care of business. Like I said, game 3 and game 4 is going to really tell us a lot. You know what I mean? Can OKC play in their house? They already came to your house and stole home court advantage. You know what I mean? They got to win. They got to get home court advantage back by going to Indiana and at least stealing one of the games. That's on their head. Indiana, you just got to take care of home. And you got to take care of home. And I believe they will. Indiana's been super good at home this year. I don't even know. I mean, let me see. I don't even know if they lost a home game this year. Have they? Did they lose a home game this year? I got to think about it. If they did, it wasn't many in the playoffs. They didn't lose many home playoff games this year. You know what I mean? They've been 4-1 in people. So, but all right, let's get to the WNBA. All right, the Indiana Fever buzzsawed Chicago without Caitlin Clark, without their head coach. And of course, Angel Reese is getting a truckload of backlash. All of the blame has been thrusted upon her, and all of that. And it come with the territory. When you're the face of the team, that come with the territory. So some of y'all, just want to defend it. You gotta take some of it. Some of the stuff is over the top, some of the stuff is excessive, but of course, it come with it. It's a lot of problems going on with Chicago, top to bottom. I mean, Candace Parker spoke up for her coach Tyler Marsh because she spent time with Tyler Marsh in Las Vegas, and they got a good relationship. And all y'all out there trying to put Candace Parker against Angel Reese, stop. That's not what she's saying. She's just saying she knows he's a good coach. She's vouching for a coach. She's not. When it was somebody speaking for a coach that they was once with, that don't mean they bashing none of the players, because there's some blame to go around. They're not playing well, and he's not coaching well. It's just that simple. I don't care what Candace Parker says. No, I'm not coming for you, Candace, but I'm just saying they're not playing well, and he's not coaching well. Because I mean, it was some of his plays that he's calling, some of the things that lineups that he's putting together, they're not good. Period. You know what I mean? Same thing with the Las Vegas Aces. They got blown out by Golden State Saturday which was a complete tragedy. And they can say what they want to say. They're not playing. The players are not playing up to potential, and Beckenham is not coaching right now. And Tyler Marsh, ironically, is a product of her coaching tree. They're not coaching well. Period. They're not coaching well. They're not playing well. They're not coaching well. You know what I mean? Of course, they're coming out to Asia Wilson this morning, bashing her for that loss. And once again, she's the face of the team. She's one of the faces of the league. That come with it. You know what I mean? That come with it. But some of the stuff they're saying is excessive. But at the same time, they got to play better. Period. The offensive sets are crazy. Same thing with Angel Reese. Their offensive sets are not proper for running your team. Like right now, the Chicago Sky offense should run through Camila Cardoso, then Angel, then the shooters. But right now they're running. The shooters are shooting, then they're going to Camila, then Angel's trying to do hero ball, and it makes everything worse. You know what I mean? Same thing with the Las Vegas Aces. They're waiting too long to get into their offensive sets. They're not. You had the leading scorer in the league from last year. Set the record for the most points in the league ever, and she touches the ball maybe 5 seconds out of a possession. That's not good basketball. That's not good coaching. That's not good basketball. Period. Whoever your dominant player is, that's who the offense should run through. That's in any sport, NBA, NFL, whatever. Whoever the most dominant player on the field, that should be the focal point of every single possession. Every possession starts with that person. You know what I mean? That's as simple as it gets. That's not saying other players don't get their touches and other players don't get hot, but whoever the best player is, that's who the offense should run through. And if that person and that best player is a post player, they should be posting it up, getting the ball in their hands, and everybody else work off that. Not a bunch of guards running all over the place looking for threes, and then at the last second you look for your big. No cuts, no. Both of these teams look bad, and they need and yes, Angel has to play better. Camilla has to play better. Ariel Atkins has to play better. Jackie Young has to play better. Drew Lloyd has to play better. Asia has to play better. I propose a trade. I think that Las Vegas should send whoever player they feel in a first-round draft pick to Chicago for Angel. Send Angel to Vegas. Let Angel Reese and because they need another big desperately, or somebody they can crash the boards because they're getting killed on the boards. And And Chicago needs somebody need somebody else to open up the lanes out there that can either post or shoot. So yeah, Vegas and Chicago should be on the phone with each other this morning. Make it hotter. Make. I mean, right now it's already toxic on the WNBA side. So make it hotter. Make it hotter. Trade Angel to Vegas. Give them whatever they need. Send them Drew Lloyd or even Jackie. No, they're never gonna trade Jackie, but Drew Lloyd or somebody. Send them to Chicago for Angel Reese. Angel Reese, they need a big desperately. The Mystics, they came out yesterday and they just, man, they look so good yesterday. I get it, it's Connecticut, but Connecticut been giving a lot of people a lot of spice because they shocked the Atlanta Dream the other night when Money Mabry went off for 31 points, and yesterday Slim had her on lock and key. And I ain't never seen nobody shut down Money Mabry like the way Slim shut her down yesterday. Slim is Brittany Sykes for those that ain't familiar, but yeah, the Mystics look good. Finally, a great game for both Shakira Austin and Aaliyah Edwards, and if that continues, that team is going to be a formidable foe as this season goes on. You know what I mean? They had a rough patch in the beginning, but they already played the world champions twice. They played the Fever twice. So they've been pitted against all top teams thus far. So yeah, they're gonna be fine as this season goes on. They'll get the schedule will soften up for a little bit. Like they said, they played Las Vegas, they played the Fever twice, they played the New York Liberty twice, and they played Vegas right there. So that's 5 games, 5 of their games, half of their games already have been against playoff teams or championship caliber teams. So they're fine. They're fine. As they continue to work their schedule out, they'll do just fine. You know what? Since we got time today, let me touch on this boxing situation that happened over the weekend. I'm about to drop the link down to boxing in DC and all my guys over there. Since I got time today, we're gonna get into this boxing situation. Keyshawn Davis missed weight against Edwin De Los Santos. Then from that, Edwin De Los Santos was unable to reach an agreement with Bob Arum and them guys about what they should do as what they should do in terms of the fight. So the fight got called off. And the fight card went on with Abdullah Mason as the main event. Now, prior to the weigh-in and the fiasco that took place there, Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis exchanged words about, should we fight next, and so on and so forth. So that happened, right? And so Keyshawn went on to miss weight. De Los Santos couldn't come to terms with some sort of agreement because he wanted to fight for a title. He did get his full fight check, but he didn't get the fight for the title, so he didn't want to do the fight. He wants to fight for a title. He wanted a title shot. You know what I mean? So the fight gets called off. Then on the co-main event, Calvin Davis. And I will, tomorrow I will bring in, some of my guys from down north, for Coach Sean and those who were in the building, who was in attendance, who was around the situation that happened. Not to be messy, but just to get their perspective of what actually took place. Because after Calvin Davis lost to Albright, another fight broke out in the dressing rooms and the locker room area, and the word is that Keyshawn and his brothers jumped Albright after he won the fight against Keon Davis. And, it's a lot of backlash being headed that way, and rightfully so. Like I said, I will bring my guys that was in the building. Most of my partners was in the building. Most of my partners was right around the situation. They was right there with what happened. So we'll get up close and personal, input on what happened in that situation. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my guys was covering the fight. A lot of my guys was, that's part of their camp was there. So we'll find out. We'll definitely find out. And we'll do a whole boxing segment tomorrow. And we'll get the updates on everything else that's going on. But yeah, that's what happened. And then not to mention Abdullah Mason went on to stop Nakatilia, you know, and which was a big win. And, you know, he was able to, you know, show his, you know, youth, speed, power, and all that. So, you know, and to make himself a force to reckon with. And I believe that should put him in line for a title shot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That should put him in line for a title shot. You know what I mean? And I like the way he responded to the question about how he felt about what happened with Keyshawn and whatever. He just said, hey, man, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to enjoy my win. I'm going to keep on going with my career. Wait, and listen, sometimes you just need to stay out of stuff and not be so messy. You know what I mean? But, yeah, that's what took place in Norfolk. You know, still a fan of Keyshawn Davis, still a fan of what they got going on. It's just, you never know what's happening these days, and that was just a crazy look. I'm going to be honest. It was a crazy look. You know what I mean? Don't know what happened here. Don't know what happened there. But hopefully he'll bounce back. Hopefully he'll bounce back and he'll, I don't know. You know, it looked like he's going to 140, and he said Frank called him out at 140, but I don't know this. He still won't even be with Top Rank after this, because I'm sure Bob is sitting there like, yo, what just happened? You know what I mean? You know, the missed weight, I understand the missed weight part. I don't understand it. I'm just going to say the missed weight part is one thing, but then for the fight to be completely called off, then for the fight card to go on, and then the fighter that fight got called off because of him missing weight gets in an altercation with another fighter who fought on the card. This is not going to go well. This is going to be a suspension, and who knows what happens after this. You know what I mean? So think about this. You just missed weight. You didn't make a fight. Now you may be possibly suspended for about a year. You know what I mean? So you really out of the loop for a year now. And this is what we got to make better decisions. We got to make better decisions, regardless to, you know, you got people putting videos out. Oh, the knot and the bruise was on his face before the fight happened, and before before he left the ring. Oh, that's fine. But we got a video of an altercation. There is a video of the altercation. Like I said, tomorrow or Wednesday, I will get the guys, you know, that was down there in the building, that was in right there, up close and personal with the that was right in the mix with the altercation, and just hear what they got to say. They, you know, like I said, I had multiple partners. Most of my partners was right there, right in the mix when it all went down. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, we'll see. Back to the WNBA. I mean, the NBA is pretty much, you know, down to the finals. Shai Gilgeous is showing why he's the MVP of the league. And another thing, I found a lot of these face of the NBA, face of the WNBA, face of these leagues conversations funny, because social media has made us change who's great. Like we've changed the level of what greatness is. You know what I mean? Like certain people get credit for their popularity. Some people get credit for their achievements. At the end of the day, you play to win the game. There's no such thing as an overrated champion. And there's no such thing as a GOAT that ain't never won a championship. These things don't exist in sports. It's a new thing now because of social media that we can prop up who we want to prop up. We can tear down who we want to tear down. And now then they change things from, okay, they're the best, but they're not exciting. That's not how this works. You know what I mean? That's not how this works. You know what I mean? Like Shai Gilgeous has been up for the MVP for the last 2 years. Right? And you know, Tyrese Halliburton the last 2 years has been a spark in the playoffs. So if whichever one of them wins this championship, their status gets elevated. They don't have to be the face of the league, but they're one of the faces. You know what I'm saying? To say that they're not superstars or not one of the faces of the league after they win a chip is crazy. It's crazy. But we're going to get people face of the league status who ain't even in the running for a title. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Not how this works. Feel me? Not how this works. You know what I'm saying? It's not how this works. You know what I mean? So hopefully, but hopefully we can get, I mean, you know what? We can't make people stop doing what they're doing because now they're giving out checks for who can, create content. So we're going to continue to get the hot takes. We're going to continue to get the wild takes. We're going to continue to get everything has got to be controversial. Everything got to be toxic and all that. So that's cool, but we're not going to do that over here. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the fight. We're going to talk about the sport. We're going to talk about the essence of the sport, and we're going to keep doing that. Hopefully the support will come, and we'll be able to continue to do that because I don't want to do the hot takes. I don't want to do the toxicity and be on here, yelling and screaming and saying all kinds of wild, crazy stuff about, players in order to get their engagement. You know what I mean? I'm gonna continue to just speak on the game as it is and continue to do that. Hopefully we can continue to do that. But right now, like I said, we're gonna continue to be in the building. We're gonna continue to be at the games. We're gonna continue to be at the fights. We're gonna give you the up close and personal footage. What up, Joe? Talk to me, y'all. What y'all think about the Keyshawn Davis situation? What you think about the NBA Finals? And if you're watching the WNBA, what y'all think going on? You know what I mean? And stay off Twitter. And stay off Twitter. You know what I mean? Because Twitter is just a cesspool for drama. That's all they do is lie. And it goes down. I'm not built for Twitter. I just watch. Like a lot of posts on all platforms, I be ready to go off. Be like, nah, I'm a hold that. I'm a hold that till the opportunity that I can do something live. I'm a hold that. I'm not gonna be going back and forth on Twitter and Threads and IG. I watch everything just because I want to see what the algorithm is talking about, but I don't want to let the algorithm dictate how I perceive with the show. You know what I mean? And I will keep y'all updated on everything that's going on with all my guys in the DMV, talking about, the Russell brothers and whatever else they got going on. I'll keep y'all posted on that. We got a lot of stuff popping. But back to the WNBA. Right now, New York Liberty and Minnesota look like they're just tiers above everybody else. Like there's nobody even in the same stratosphere of them right now. They are truly high on the whole. They just leveling away from everybody. You know what I mean? Complete dominance. You know what I mean? Both of them 9-0. Nobody's except for the one game with the Fever. Well, New York had two close calls. One with Golden State and one with the Fever. They had two close calls, but everybody else they should have lost to the Mystics the other night. And that's okay. They'll get better. They should have lost to the Mystics the other night. The Mystics played them really, really tough. They missed a whole lot of free throws in the fourth quarter. That was kind of uncharacteristic to them. So, like I said, they're a good, young, strong team, and they'll be fine, especially if Aaliyah and Shakira keep playing like they played yesterday. Great game yesterday. Matter of fact, let me just talk about that. I finally got to cover a Mystics game yesterday. I was due to cover them, before, but, we got in there yesterday. It was, beautiful atmosphere, beautiful thing. Everything was going on. Got to go to the press conference, ask some, post-game questions and all that. So, like I said, I'll be dropping footage and all that. But like I said, they went on and they put on this masterful performance, ran Connecticut out the building. Brittany Sykes, Slim, a.k.a. Slim, played defense. She was the best offensive player and the best defensive player on the court. Yes, because she was guarding Money Mayberry, who was coming off a 31-point outing against the Atlanta Dream, and she pretty much held her to nothing. You know what I mean? A couple shots here and there. I think she finished with like 15 points, but that was it. But like I said, Slim just was a hound, would not let her shoot them 3-pointers. Yesterday, they was running Connecticut off the 3-point line until, the game got out of hand. Then they let them shoot a few threes. But that's how you guard 3-point shooters. You close out on them. Just, actually, the same way OKC played Indiana last night. Close out on them 3-point shooters. That's how you play defense. That's how you play defense, not leaving people wide open to figure, to just shoot whenever they feel like it. Chicago need to look at that drill, and the Las Vegas Aces need to look at what the Mystics and what OKC did yesterday. And they can play better ball, but people just being wide open shooting threes, you're gonna lose every time. You're gonna lose every time. If you're expecting a professional to lose or to continue to miss wide open shots, that's not good basketball. But back to the Mystics. Yesterday was the first game that I actually saw Aaliyah Edwards and Shakira Austin both look strong, look powerful. And that's the question I did ask Coach at the end of the game. And he, told me, as they get healthier, he wants to use them more. And they, like I said, they look good. And with them two, along with Kiki Irfan, Sonia, and the way Slim is playing, like I said, they're going to be a tough out as this season continues. As this season continues, they're going to be a tough out for a lot of people. They're going to be a tough out for a lot of people. So, look, the Mystic season, even though they're 4-6, the Mystics look good. They're going to be fine. They should be a playoff team, and they should be able to be they should finish this season like in the lowest of 7 seed. They'll be a 7 seed, and they'll probably, like I said, we'll see what happens when they get there. But, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. So, we got a lot of stuff coming up. Like I said, we're going to be live pretty much. We'll be live again tomorrow about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock as we do the boxing talk segment, and we're gonna really deep dive into what's going on in boxing. We're really gonna get an up close and personal look at what happened in Norfolk this weekend, and we're gonna go from there. I'm not into the whole fighters ducking talk and all that. I don't think Keyshawn was trying to duck De Los Santos. I think that maybe he just outgrown the weight class. And what some fighters are doing, instead of putting themselves at risk, they just miss weight. You know what I mean? When fighters stay at a weight class for a certain amount of time, or they continue to stay at a weight class for a certain amount of time, you kind of got to be in the gym 24/7. And not saying that he's not doing that, but you kind of got to watch your diet and watch your weight every day. You know what I mean? And when you don't, you finally get to camp and you're trying to get the weight off, but the weight not coming off the way you want to go off because you're adding muscle. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. So he didn't make the weight. And so I'm not going to say he was trying to get out the fight. I just think that he wasn't trying to put himself at risk to make the weight and then be in the ring with a puncher.
Man.
Okay, let me work this out. Hold on.
Hey, man.
Hold on. There we go.
We in the jump early. I missed my alarm clock, man. I missed my alarm clock, Doc. Oh, man. Oh, man.
All right. Well, for a couple minutes, all right, listen. You called me right. I was just, hey, look, but you know what? Since you're here, give your take on what we watched yesterday with the Mystics versus the Sun, and then we'll go.
Man, it was. Like I said, I didn't expect it to be a blowout like that, but I was expecting to see a W. I was very, very happy to see that we were able to grab the boards. We were able to grab. We locked down on the boards. I don't believe we had too many turnovers. I think we kept it under 10 this game. Who else? Of course, your girl Slim going crazy. She went crazy. She scored over 30, I believe.
28 to be exact, but okay.
28,
she was close
okay.
To
Okay. And then Kiki, she just developing more and more every game. It's gonna be scary for anybody that has to play Washington. But as long as we keep Kiki and she stays healthy, it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary. Yes, sir.
And then my big girls also showed up yesterday, big Shakira and Aaliyah. So with that plan, what I like about yesterday's game is, for the first time this year, every time a big got the ball, instead of just sitting there waiting to drop it off to a guard, if they kept the ball in their hands for a couple seconds, they started to attack the glass. That's winning basketball.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't mind. I don't mind if a team loses if you're playing winning formula. See what I'm saying? That's no matter what the sport is. Sitting there just passing the ball around and then taking an erratic shot or turning the ball over, that's not winning. That's not winning. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want my bigs looking for their shot, and they did that yesterday. You
That's
know,
real. That's real. That's real right there, man. That is so real. That was a good game. The energy was crazy in the arena. Uh yeah, it was a vibe. It was a vibe. It was a good time. It was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah, man. I know I jumped on here late, so I know you already went through the segment, but
but talk about I. You know what? Since we here, talk about it last night. Uh, OKC tied the series up at 1-1. They tied the series up at 1-1, and with SGH led the way with 34. But what you think of what the series right now? Who do you favor now that it's 1-1 going back to Indiana, going to
oh
Indiana?
man, I to be honest with you, again, like I mean, I still see Indiana pulling that upset just because I believe Tyrese is going. He want to get that award that he felt like he got robbed from, that everybody else probably feel like he got robbed from. I personally did not watch the series enough to speak on who should have received the Eastern Conference MVP award, but you know, from his reaction, as a mentor or anybody, they would tell their mentee or their youngin, you know what you gotta do now. You gotta go after that trophy that's available for you now. So yeah, I feel like he has that chip on his shoulder. I believe that OKC does as well, but I feel like this might go to a game 7.
I think we'll know by game 4 because right now they
Mm-hmm.
1-1, right?
Hmm.
Either one of them win both of the next 2 games, where I think they're right to show. But OKC is fighting to get home court advantage back because they got to win at least one in Indy to make
Yeah,
it to bring it back. But like I said, we'll know everything we need to know game 4, no matter who wins game 3,
yeah,
right? The other
yeah.
one must win game 4. You know what I mean? So, like I said, game 4 is going to tell a whole story.
Now I can say this: we will not see OKC and Indiana in the finals next season. I'll tell you that right now. Not gonna see it. Not gonna see it. Not gonna see it. It's like one of those rare moments uh of just like I'm not saying that OKC is not gonna cause havoc in the playoffs, but I don't know, man. I'm not convinced by this. I'm not convinced. I get it, SGA, MVP, all of that, but there's been many MVPs that never made it to, you know what I'm saying? Why you over there looking like that, man? Why you looking like that?
Because I mean, to be honest, when it comes to all sports now, because
Mm-hmm.
of free agency, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
of free agency, and this superstar may end up here, and that superstar may end up there in any sport. So we don't know who's going to be the favorite to win no year because, like I said, it's so many missing parts. Like this team could have a whole new lineup next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That team could have
Yeah.
a whole new lineup next year. So it's hard to gauge it in sports. But what's to say that in the offseason, both of them teams don't pick up pieces to get better? We don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's too early to say that. You don't know.
You right, but I just
Like, what if Giannis go to OKC? They going back, right?
he's not going to
I'm,
OKC.
I'm just giving you an
Giannis,
example.
if anything,
I'm just
Giannis
no no
gonna
no
go to
no
New
no no no
York.
no no no. What I'm saying, I'm just giving you an example.
I got
You know
you.
what I
I
mean?
got you. I
You
got
don't
you.
know. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like say
right.
Kevin Durant may say, you know what, I'm going to Indiana. Now what? I'm saying you never know. You feel me?
I see KD coming to Washington before we go to Indiana.
I would hope he do come to Washington. I hope he bring Giannis with him. I'm just saying it's too early.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I know. I know. I just, I like to talk about it before everybody start talking about it. I just feel like I don't see them. I I'll say this. I see OKC being a better team next season than Indiana. Hmm.
I mean, listen, they're
But
in the
I
finals,
don't.
right?
But I
They're in the
don't see. But I don't see OKC winning the finals. That's so
this year.
crazy to
How
say.
much? How much
Yeah,
this year
this
or
year.
next year?
This year. This year. Yeah, I
I don't
don't see
know.
them winning, but I do see them being a better team than Indiana next season, though.
It's too early. It's too early for that. I want to get through this championship first before I
I
even
feel
look
you.
at it. It's too early to say that. But like I
I
said,
feel you.
with free agency, the fact that both of these teams was able to make it to the finals without any major like trade, no major pick, none of that. No major trade, no major free agent sign, just a bunch of young ballers with a couple vets and got busy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So if they was to add like a couple pieces here and there, it's nothing stopping them from doing that. You know what I mean? Because I don't see them paying nobody but Shea. You know what I mean? Major dollars.
That's real.
That's the thing. Like
That's real.
me, see, they would hate me as a GM. Because if I was a GM, if I got a team that's on the cusp of winning or winning, I'm gonna keep dumping and dumping and dumping. I wouldn't the last dance that the Bulls went through would never be me. I'm not
Mm,
breaking up nothing. We're gonna win till we can't win no more.
that
We
part
win.
right there.
Listen, if I could put together a team to win 10 in a row, we just gonna win 10 in a row. I'm gonna
Yeah.
win till you stop me. Ain't no way in the world I'm gonna bust up a team that can win. It's not done. Like I said, I lose every dollar. I break every rule. You know what I mean? not
That's real.
illegal. Not
Not right,
illegal.
right, 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 right,
Not
right, right,
illegal.
right,
Not
right,
illegal.
right,
I'm
right,
just
right,
saying, I
right.
would look, you want to come here? Listen, bring them in. I'll be flowing people in and out. So what? I had Steph Curry, LeBron, Kevin Durant on the same team. You know what I'm saying? They be like, well, that's cheating. So what?
Hey, you going back to the Miami vibes, man. I couldn't stand when they was the big three was in Miami. Chris Bosh, D Wade, and LeBron. Man, I could not stand seeing them pull up to Washington when we had to play against them, man.
Well, I mean, look, they still got beat. With all that, they still lost twice.
They did, they did, they did, but it
They
was
still
very
lost.
rare when they played us. That's all I'm saying. It was
That's
very
why.
rare.
That's why when people have these debates, it kind of astounds me that Tim Duncan don't get more respect than he do.
That's because they said that he played a game of boring basketball.
See, I was just talking about that earlier. What is that? What is that? We play
Very
for results.
fundamental.
No, I don't care about number of results.
Oh,
Results.
right, right.
I don't care number of results.
He wasn't flashy enough, you know.
I mean, listen. When we talk about these eras, right? I hear about Steph all the time. You hear about Kobe all the time. You hear about LeBron all the time, right? But there was a man amongst all of them that
Yep,
while all of them was
yep.
doing everything, he ate
My man
and
was
put
the king of the backboard.
and beat all of them.
Yeah.
He beat all of them. You know what I'm saying?
San
Everybody that
Antonio system was crazy.
he beat all of them. That's what I'm saying. So when we talk about all of that, you can make a good argument that Tim Duncan, out of that, all of them, was the one.
Yeah, yeah. Tim Duncan definitely. It was so simple, and his game looked so slow that it was annoying that nobody could stop him. It was annoying. Like you really didn't have too many people that really challenged him for real, for real. It doesn't matter what it was. Every time you seen him baseline, he backing down on a defender. You either gonna see that sky hook shot off the backboard, or you gonna see a decent little funny looking fadeaway that's gonna go off the backboard. And 9 times out of 10, that joint banking in. And that, and if he got double teamed, he could pass the ball too. That was the thing that people didn't pay attention either. He didn't have to have the ball in his hand, especially when he had Manu, Tony Parker, Robert Horry. It was like he had some players, man.
But
He
I'm
had a
talking about
team.
even late in his career, right?
Okay,
People,
yeah, even late in
people
his
don't
career.
people don't realize that. Um, do you know that series that the last one they won against Miami? They had like 5 people on their team from the G League.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. We think they got Danny Green from the G League, buddy. Yes, Danny Green was once in the league and went to the G League. They brought him back. Patty Mills, G League. Gary
Okay, yeah, I
Neal,
remember. I
G
remember
League.
Patty Mills. Yeah.
A lot of them dudes wasn't even in the league. They took dudes that wasn't in the
Mm.
league. You know what I
Like
mean?
I said, that's what I said. That Senate Popovich, the way he ran things out there was different. Even when they, I mean, I think Kawhi got drafted, right? Kawhi got drafted, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
drafted Kawhi.
but even when he pulled up, now LeBron exposed how he felt about Kawhi when like early in the career. Like I'm talking, Kawhi was still in San Antonio. It showed this one play. I don't know if LeBron was at the free throw line or someone else was shooting free throws. Kawhi was subbing into the game, and you saw like the disappointment in LeBron's face that he had to guard him and that he knew he was getting checked by him. You could see it. LeBron knew from back then the type of problem Kawhi Leonard was. Now today, Kawhi's, he's still a decent, good player, but it's scary today time, man. He's
It's all right, though. I mean, the thing about it is the front part of his career is going to outlast the back half of his career.
yeah.
His front part is going to outlast the back. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I do got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I got to punch the clock. But tell the people where they can find you. Tell them what you got going on.
Listen, Brandon Stennard, many apologies for just getting on here, people, but hey, we here. We made it. We got the last 10 minutes of it. Brandon Stennard on YouTube, Brandon Stennard on Instagram, Brandon _ Stennard on X, and Brandon Stennard on Facebook. A lot on the way. Yeah, we'll talk about it later down the line. My man.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes,
But
sir.
listen, thank y'all for tapping into the Let's Talk Sports Show. This is AK the Apostle, man. Facebook, follow Let's Talk Sports on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I don't know if I forgot. Threads. Everything is Let's Talk Sports or AK the Apostle, man. Like I said, got a lot of footage we're gonna drop on y'all in the next day or so, man. Get back at me.
All right.